how to use your car legally without a driver's license. Now, does that sound too good to be true? There are many reasons why people cannot have a driver's license. Just to name a few legal disqualifications, maybe they are suspended, it was revoked from a DUI, or too many traffic violations, or serious traffic offenses, failure to pay fines, maybe you didn't pass the exams, lack of legal documentation. Some people have unresolved immigration status, inability to prove identity. There's all kinds of reasons why you cannot have a driver's license, and it may be hindering your life substantially. And folks, I will say I have a soft spot in my heart for all of you who are going through the struggle right now, not being able to travel from point A to point B just to make ends meet, take care of your family. And it is our God-given right to be able to travel naturally, folks. It even says so in the Constitution that we have the right to travel. Now, this has no affiliation with sovereign citizen ideologies or movements or any of that notion. So go ahead and take that, remove it from your brain, remove it from your ideas. Go ahead and put that off to the wayside, because today I will be proving to you without a shadow of a doubt that you can operate your car, an automobile, 100% legally if you follow these steps. Now, I'm going to give you a list of reasons why you do not want to contract with the Department of Motor Vehicles, and most of them are pretty self-explanatory, but here we go, okay? So, 1, vehicle registration fees. Okay, so your payment is required when you're registering a vehicle. Renewal fees, periodic fees for renewing the vehicle registration. Late fees, additional charges if your registration is renewed after the due date. You have title fees. You have title replacement fees. You have sales tax. Okay, you have emission and inspection fees, so costs for required emissions or safety inspections to ensure the vehicle meets state regulations. Insurance requirements, the driver's license fees, you got to pay for an application, you have to pay for a renewal, you have to pay for a reinstatement if you're moving out of state, administrative fees, so all of this BS processing fees and notary fees that they stamp on the end, or tax on the end, and then penalties and fines. So traffic violation fines, late fees for documentation. These financial responsibilities ensure compliance with state regulations, and they say it's to support the administrative functions of the DMV, but really, folks, it's just to exploit you. Okay? Why on earth would you pay money to contract with a corporation like this, especially if there is legal remedy for you to be able to travel freely, your natural rights? Now, once again, this has zero affiliation with sovereign citizens' ideologies. In fact, I suggest that you look at the definition of the word sovereign and look at the definition of citizen and see how 100% insanity those two terms in conjunction with each other are. It is an oxymoron. It makes zero sense for someone to be a sovereign citizen. It's like saying you're skinny fat, okay? Anyway, I digress. So there are reasons why, very good reasons why, you should break your contract with the Department of Motor Vehicles and register with the DOT, and we will get into that process in this video. Okay, now I did make a previous video going over a similar topic, but today I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty. So first things first, folks, there are a series of forms that you are going to have to submit. Now, do not get overwhelmed by that statement. Okay, it is actually quite simple. I do want to stress the fact, though, that you need to do these forms in the correct order. So go ahead and get a pencil or a pen out. Get ready to write this stuff down. The first form that you want to get is called the SS5 form. Now, you might be familiar with what that form is. It is the application for a Social Security card. Now, you're probably asking, why would I need to do that? I already have a Social Security card. Well, folks, what you didn't know whenever you got that Social Security card is that you did not fill out the application properly. And what you're going to be doing is correcting the status on your Social Security card using that SS5 form. Now, you are going to be changing some factors on that application that you're not going to be able to do online, so you're going to have to print this form out, fill it out, and bring it into the post office or put it in your mailbox. You're going to have to deliver it in that method. You can even bring it to your local Social Security office. But the first step is to correct your status with the Social Security Administration using the SS5 form. This form will update your status to that of a non-citizen national, which is going to separate you from the all capital letters legal entity. Now you might be asking, well, what the heck is that? Well, folks, your name in all capital letters is by legal definition called the ens legis. That's ENSLEGIS, ens legis. Now, the reason why your name is in all capital letters is because it is to separate a corporation from a living entity. So, legal definition of a person can be a human being, and it can also be a business like a corporation. So, you actually have two identities. You might not be aware of that. Your all capital letters name even has its own birth date. Now, we will get into that in another video. I don't want to overwhelm you, but first things first, you're going to update your status on the SS5 form as a non-citizen national. So if it asks you on the form, are you a citizen? You will not check yes. Or if it says US citizen, do not check that box. Right below it, there's going to be another box that says non-citizen national. If it doesn't have that option, you're going to write non-citizen national, which once again will separate you from the fictitious entity, the all capital letters name called the ens legis. And that name is actually directly connected to your Social Security number. Okay, so just to recap, you're going to fill out and submit the form SS5, ensuring that your new status is reflected as a non-citizen national. This step will legally correct how you are identified in the system and distances your personal status from the legal entity, the all capital letters name. All right, so that is the first form you're going to do. The second form you are going to do is you are going to submit the DS11 passport application. Now, folks, this is specifically for nationals of the United States of America. Now, if you are from a foreign country, you can actually naturalize as a non-citizen national and also submit the DS11 form. But for Americans who are born here in the United States of America, if you have a passport already, you're going to need to resubmit that application as well, because that once again is another contract that you entered into with the incorrect status reflecting who you are. Okay, and we'll go over all of this stuff at the end. I'll do a quick recap. That way I can make it less confusing for you, because you're probably like, what is going on? Okay, so you're going to submit the form DS11, which is the passport application. Now, the purpose of this is after updating your status with the SS5, the next step is to apply for a passport using this form. This passport will now reflect your corrected non-citizen national status, because on the passport application, it is going to ask you for your Social Security number. And we just corrected that contract. So now we're moving on to the next form, which is the passport. And when it asks you for your social, you can comfortably put that in there, knowing that you already corrected the separation of your status. Now, the key point here is when you're filling out the DS11, once again, do not select that you are a U.S. citizen. Do not select that you are a U.S. citizen, as your status has already been corrected. You are now identifying as a non-citizen national. And guess what? Passports, American passports, are issued to only U.S. nationals. It doesn't say U.S. citizen, it says U.S. nationals. Now, you're going to submit the DS11 with your updated Social Security status, ensuring the proper designation. Perfect. You're going to have to go to the passport office. It's usually at a post office, and you can take care of that as well. Now, the next form you are going to submit is an SS4 form. This is an application for an employer identification number. You are applying for an EIN because you are going to substitute the EIN for the Social Security number anytime it asks you for your social. It will ask you for your social on this form, but remember, we already corrected our status on the Social Security number. So with this form, you're going to be getting an EIN for a private irrevocable trust. Now, if it doesn't give you the option on the form itself for irrevocable trust, at the bottom where it says other, select that option and annotate irrevocable trust. If you don't know what an irrevocable trust is, I'm just going to simplify it real quick. You can do your own research on that, but it is a type of trust where the terms and provisions cannot be altered. Essentially, it is extremely private. It is going to allow you to operate separate from your social security number. Okay, you're going to submit the SS4 form. You will receive an EIN. It is for free, once again, and you will be using this EIN form from this day forward. Apply for an EIN for a newly created irrevocable trust. This EIN allows you to engage in financial activities and establish credit separately from the SSN, from the Social Security number. You heard me correctly, folks. You can actually stop using your Social Security number altogether and build a credit line with an EIN attached to an irrevocable trust. Now, you're going to use the IRS website to apply for the EIN under the trust. This ensures that your assets and contracts remain private and distinct from your personal identity. That is very important. It is going to remain private and distinct your contracts from your personal identity. Okay, now that we got the EIN, we're going to move on to step 4. This is the big juicy one, folks. Now, if you already have a driver's license, this is what you need to do. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the whole purpose of this video if I already have a driver's license? And I'm going to explain that right now. So, with your driver's license, you're going to go to the DMV and you are going to submit the form, the DL-142, and you are going to surrender your driver's license. I know that sounds crazy. You do not need or want a driver's license. The next step is to formally sever your contract with the DMV by surrendering your driver's license. For this, you will need to use the DL-142 form. You're going to fill out the form and surrender your driver's license. You're going to attach a notarized affidavit stating that you are no longer contracting with the DMV and that you demand they relinquish all security interests associated with that driver's license, including the certificate of title. Now, if you do not know what an affidavit is, it is just a sworn statement that a notary witnesses and they watch you sign, and then they sign, and that becomes a legally binding document. And most banks offer free notary services. So once you print out the DL-142 form, you're going to bring it to your bank and you're going to have a statement on there. You're going to bring a statement in. Once again, it's going to state that you are no longer contracting with the DMV and that you demand they relinquish all security interests associated with the driver's license, including the certificate of title. All right, you're going to sign that affidavit. The notary will stamp their stamp. They will also sign. They will make a record of it. It is now a legally binding document. Have them make a copy of it. You're going to bring in the original affidavit and you're going to bring in the copy affidavit to the DMV with the DL-142. You are going to turn in the DL-142 with the affidavit, the notarized affidavit. You have a copy for yourself for your own record. You need to ensure that you receive written correspondence from the DMV with a signature from an authorized party, so whoever is helping you at the DMV window, acknowledging receipt and understanding of your affidavit and the DL-142. Do not leave the DMV without a document stating that the DMV accepted your form and your affidavit and they understand what the form says and what the affidavit says. Okay? Now, you can follow up with them if you like, get somebody's contact number, but you need to make sure you do not leave the DMV without some sort of proof that you turned these two documents in, okay? Now, if you own your automobile, you need to request the manufacturer's certificate of origin. This is called the MCO, which serves as proof of ownership. You do not want the certificate of title anymore. And if you have the certificate of title, you can give it to them. You're going to write void on it and request that they give you a certificate of origin in placement of that. Or you can have an authorized representative at the DMV sign the certificate of title that says void on it and give it back to you, okay? You do not want to contract with the DMV anymore. Okay, moving forward, now that you've gotten rid of your driver's license and you've got the MCO to your automobile, you are going to apply for a private motor carrier number. You're going to go to the DOT's website to legally operate your automobile without registration or insurance or a driver's license. You can apply for a private motor carrier number through the Department of Transportation, and it is free. So you're going to visit the DOT website, submit a new application using the EIN that you received for your irrevocable trust, because it's going to ask you for your social or for the EIN. You do not need to use your social anymore. You have the EIN now. So you're going to put your EIN for your new trust on the application. When you're going through the application, you are going to select, and this is very important, that you are non-commercial, non-business, transporting private property and private passengers, not for hire. You are not operating in commerce. You are operating privately. Once again, when you're going through the application, you are non-commercial, non-business, transporting private property and private passengers. You are not receiving any compensation, period, for using your automobile on public roads. You are a private motor carrier. Now, if you do this correctly on the application, you will receive a free DOT number. After 24 hours, your DOT number will be active in their database. And you can type in your DOT number that you were issued, and a company snapshot will appear. Now, this is an active database which reflects all active DOT numbers. It'll show your irrevocable trust. It'll show all your designations that you are private, non-commercial, non-business, transporting private property and private passengers, and you are not for hire. Now, you can print this document out, and this will serve as your registration for your new private automobile. And your passport that you were issued, because remember we submitted a passport application, that will be your new, quote, driver's license. Okay? Now, by following these steps, you can operate your vehicle privately without a driver's license, without registration, or proof of insurance, ensuring that your assets and contracts remain private and separate from public systems. And that is how the cookie crumbles, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you do it. Okay? Now, if you do not have a passport, you're going to have to wait to do this process. I would not advise traveling without identification. However, there's nothing to say that you can't do that. I'm just saying that it makes the interactions with the policy enforcers a lot more smooth when you have a passport and you have this printed out DOT snapshot, which is your registration. And if they're asking you for insurance, I have a whole nother video going over that as well. But you do not need insurance. It is a good thing to have, but you do not want to contract with any third-party corporations that are going to require a driver's license or your social. Okay.